As a scientist, I can tell you that Sundays are only 24 hours long. But with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get every game every Sunday all in one place. That's upwards of 30 hours of NFL in one day. How can there be 30 hours in 24 hours, you ask? I have a theory. Magic. New users get NFL Sunday Ticket for 8 payments of $34.50 per month. Sign up at nflsundayticket.com. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games and commercial use. Terms and embargoes apply. Availability varies.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an Enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
All of the phones are out, and it will be a gold medal for the host nation.
He's up to silver medal. He's gone, and Great Britain have won the gold medal in the boulder and lead. Toby Roberts, the 19-year-old from Surrey, with 155 points, has won gold for Great Britain.
And the young man from Lewisham is going to take the gold medal here. It's going to be an individual gold medal for Alex Yee and Team GB.
Sport can be brutal at times. Just one of the lines from a British rower who's announced his elite career is over, not retiring. He won't be going to the LA Games, though. It probably sums up some of what we'll be talking about in this episode, though. I'm John.
And I'm Michael, and this is Anything But Footy, the Olympic and Paralympics podcast. We are looking ahead to LA, and we are moving on to Milano Cortina, which it says scarily here is just 5 months away.
The World Championship season continues. We round up and hear from some of the 21 British medalists who bring home the bling from the World Rowing Championships in Shanghai.
Yeah, Project Undisputed is a success.
Yeah, we're just really happy to have got that over the line and get it done.
It's been an amazing crew, an amazing result in the end.
We'll also have the latest from the Para World Swimming and Para World Athletics Championships, plus cycling's Road Race World Championships taking place at the moment in Rwanda. We'll have news on that as well. Plus a new sport for the Paralympic movement and the return of some familiar faces.
Yes, incredible news from the General Assembly in Seoul over the weekend that Russia and Belarus are back in international sport. This is Anything But Footy. Stay in touch all the time with our socials and our latest blogs on the website anythingbutfooty.com. So plenty to come on World Rowing, World Para Swimming, Athletics, Ryder Cup, the Rugby World Cup. But we thought we should start with some breaking news over the weekend. And this is the announcement, Michael, that the International Paralympic Committee at its General Assembly has voted to allow the return of Belarus and Russia to the Paralympic movement. The headline says the IPC member organisations vote not to maintain the partial suspensions of Belarus and Russia. Now, of course, in 2023, so before the Paris Olympics and Paralympics, the Paralympic movement was the first to officially suspend Russia and Belarus, and then the Olympics followed suit. And we saw, of course, at the Paris Games that the neutral athletes were competing. So if they were approved as neutral athletes from those countries, you could compete, but there were no flags. But the flags will be back. Russia and Belarus will be welcomed back to Milano Cortina. And some of those athletes could potentially even represent their nation with the flag at the Paralympics. Your initial reaction?
Stunned was my initial reaction. I thought the IPC's always, in a way, been the leader in situations like this. And as you said there, they were ahead of the IOC. They were ahead of the curve, ahead of the Paris Games. And I didn't see this one coming. I've got to be honest with you. Stunned, absolutely stunned. I'm struggling to know what to add to the situation. All I can conclude is that the fudge that they came up with, which was that independent athletes could compete anyway, they just couldn't compete as Russians or Belarusians, hadn't really had any impact. And so the only conclusion, as I said, I can come up with is they just thought, well, we might as well just have them back in the broad church that is the Paralympic Games.
The voting was pretty categoric. It was very pro bringing them back and removing the suspensions. It obviously was all related to the Ukraine war. The Ukrainians have come out and said that they find this decision shocking. And Ukrainians are now effectively potentially lining up against Russia and Belarus at these Paralympics. It's worth saying that we have heard from the IPC themselves and said, when we asked the question, does it mean Russian and Belarusian athletes will be able to compete in Milano Cortina? They've come back and said, yes, but it depends on whether the international federations have bans in place themselves. So we know in athletics, for example, Seb Coe was very quick to ban Russia and Belarusian athletes. But we also know that others, as you say, have been competing under neutral flags, like in tennis for a long time, neutral athletes. So I think it's now, in some ways, they've kicked the ball back to the sporting federations. So we're as you say, it's a bit of a fudge. It's nothing to do with me, Gov. But ultimately, they are the people who are staging this event and trying to bring the world together. And that would be their argument. We heard from Kirsty Coventry, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, talking about looking at maybe bringing back Russia and Belarusian athletes for the youth games in Dakar in 26. But the Paralympics have taken literally a step forward ahead of the Olympics.
Yeah, it feels like an IOC decision in a way, doesn't it? It's like, we're going to make a decision, but it's not our decision. We are going to make a decision where someone else has to make the decision. And that is what the IOC have done time and time again. The IPC, I don't normally put that charge at their door, but this does feel like that kind of decision. It's like, we're going to make a decision, but actually ultimately the decision's going to be up to the likes of World Aquatics and World Athletics and World Cycling, the UCI and the others. Other news though from this Paralympic session?
Yeah, Andrew Parsons was re-elected as president, so he will be serving another term, so that went through. But one of the most interesting things, they've got a couple of new members as part of the General Assembly. I think South Sudan was one of those that have been voted on. But what I think is interesting is they've got a new sport for LA. So the Climbing Federation has now become part of the Paralympic movement. So we're going to see para-climbing in the LA Games. And the press release for that over the weekend said that climbing is a sport for all. So the 18th International Sports Federation to become the Paralympics member has been voted in, and that has been welcomed by the Paralympic movement. And Bolivia and South Sudan, as I say, as well, are also new to the family.
This is Anything But Footy, the Olympic and Paralympic podcast. As we say, lots of World Championships taking place at the moment. We'll have news from two para events coming up, the World Para Swimming Championships and the World Para Athletics Championships, which one has just ended, the swimming, and one is just beginning, the athletics. But the World Rowing Championships have also been taking place in Shanghai over the past week.
Yes, 8 days of action and 8 medals won by GB Rowing. Golds from Ben Pritchard in the PR1 men's single sculls, the men's 4, the PR3 mixed cox 4. There were silver medals and a bronze as well. Let's run through some of the action and hear from some of those victorious athletes and medal-winning athletes as well. I wanted to highlight the men's 4 in particular, not raced internationally all season. So really, this was the first time that we saw them. 3 races and a gold medal at the end of it for Douwe de Graaf, George Bourne, Daniel Graham and James Robson. 25 years on from that famous 4 in Sydney, of course, led by Sir Steve Redgrave. I thought it was apt that Britain were back on top of the world in the men's 4. A brilliant victory for them, a gold medal, and we heard from Douwe and James afterwards.
Oh, amazing. I mean, we came here thinking we could do it, but it just needed us to progress through the regatta really well and get better each time we hit the water. And so, hoping we did that. We had a great row in the final. Just very easy for me to sit there and row long in the 2 seat behind George and Douwe and just lay down all the power that I had in the second half. So Yeah, I mean, massive credit to Romania, man, to the big sprint, and the Dutch gave us a hard go in the first K, so yeah, we're just really happy to have got that over the line and get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's like we gave ourselves extra pressure by doing it this way. That's the way it works, but it's so glad it has worked out well, and yeah, it makes this high even better.
Dower de Graaf and James Robson talking to British Rowing. I mentioned Ben Pritchard earlier. Project Undisputed has been complete. What a performance in the PR1 single sculls final ahead of the Ukraine and the Australian. Another win for Ben, who was absolutely delighted.
Paralympic, European, World Champion, European record, Paralympic record and World Championship record. So I'll take the bag, to be honest.
Now you weren't very far from the world's best time now. Was that always the plan to attack this one?
No, the conditions weren't suited for a world's best time, but I watched how the others raced earlier in the week and watched the races yesterday and this morning, and it seemed that the crews that front-loaded the race ended up winning. So that was my game plan, was to front-load the race and hold on for dear life. So I managed to do it just. I was dying in those last 5 strokes, that's for sure. Yeah, the temperature is wild. It's genuinely like rowing in an inferno, you know. I've done a lot of heat preparation back home in the UK with the support staff of British Rowing, which has been fantastic, but it just doesn't prepare you for these conditions, you know.
Another gold medal in the PR3 mixed Cox 4 as well. Unbeaten in 15 years, we know, this mixed Cox 4 of Frankie Allen, Deirdre Rakuskat, Ed Fuller, Josh O'Brien and New Cox Tom Bryce. They won their semi-final by 17 seconds and they won their final as well, impressively, on a brilliant last weekend for British Rowing once again. The 11th World Championship for this boat, this British boat that I mentioned has been undefeated for 15 years. The 6th world title for Deirdre as well. I think she might be one of the most, with 2 Paralympic gold medals as well. She might be the best para rower of all time at the moment. And what a performance from New Cox Tom Bryce as well. And a first World Championship medal for Paralympic champion Josh O'Brien, who we heard from in the last episode as well. Well done to the PR3 Mixed Cox 4 champions.
So the nerves stay the same on the start line. I think the more you win, the more you got your target on your back. So it's pushing us. Like, the crews are amazing, and like it just keeps pushing us to be faster and pushing the limits as well. And I was just really excited to get back racing. Like, it's our first race together since Paris, so that's been over a year. So actually, it was really fun to go back out there.
Paralympic and now world champion Frankie Allen. Silver success too for the women's quads, the men's 8, and Lauren Henry in the single sculls, looking to become the first ever British woman to win a gold medal in the World Championships in the single sculls, and she nearly did it. She just missed out by 0.03 seconds. She was coming back in the last 500 metres against runaway leader of Ireland, Fiona Murtagh, but she just couldn't catch her on the line, and it was a silver medal in the end for Lauren Henry. Silver as well for Sarah Mackay, Hannah Scott, Lola Anderson and Becky Wild, couple of Olympic champions and an Olympic medalist in Becky Wild there. Lola Anderson, that Olympic champion from Paris who lost to the Netherlands for the first time really in that quads World Championship final. The Netherlands finally beating the British women's quads, says it's a stepping stone in the right direction. Sarah Mackay, a nurse in her first elite year of rowing with GB Rowing, making up that quad. So a silver medal for the women's quads, the Olympic champions, and a silver medal as well for the men's quads, Cedal Dafford, Callum Dixon, Matt Hayward and Rory Harris. They were the World Cup winners from earlier in the year and the European Championships as well, but beaten by Italy for that gold medal and a silver medal for them. An incredible silver medal as well in the men's 8, the Olympic champions, who came here looking, of course, as defending champions as well to retain their title. But it was a Dutch double, in fact, in the 8s. The Netherlands winning the women's race and also the men's race, denying Great Britain. And Archie Drummond spoke to British Rowing afterwards.
Yeah, no, I think the guys did a really, really good job at committing to the race plan. I think we'd be lying if we said that we were dreaming of getting a silver medal. But look, it's just important to remember these feelings, use it as motivation for training, which luckily enough is going to come all too soon. So it's definitely an experience, and I think it's going to be very useful to our group going forwards.
Archie Drummond from the men's 8. That women's 8 made up of 4, of course, including Heidi Long from the women's 4, who missed out on a medal in the women's 4 final. That bronze medal was their first medal at a World Championships in the women's 8 since 2011. They won bronze in Paris, of course, with a different crew a year ago. But World Championship bronze medalists for the women's 8. Again, progress being made there. So 3 gold, 4 silver, 1 bronze for British rowing at the World Championships in Shanghai. Michael, one things, though, that I will say about this event that I've seen, and we talked about it, not with the athletes when we previewed it, but the fact that the LA Games is going to be over 1,500 metres. The lake in LA is not big enough for a normal 2,000-metre race. I think Great Britain are going to have to change the way that they row these races and scull these races, because we always come back in the final 500 metres. We saw it with Lauren Henry, as I say, just missing out by 0.03 seconds, but also the women's quads not quite getting there, the men's quads not getting there. We're going to have to change the way that we row to get to be able to win at 1,500 metres before these LA Games, surely.
Well, you're more concerned about this than I am. When we've spoken about this, you've obviously been watching quite a lot of these World Rowing Championships, and there you've described exactly the way that GB Rowing have set up, British Rowing set up. I always think that an organisation like British Rowing, we know that they had their little dip around the postponed Olympic Games, but they were back with a bang in Paris. I think there'll be a plan in place for this. I think they are well aware, obviously, of the 1,500-metre course that it will be in Los Angeles. They are an organisation that deals in the very top end of high-performance sport. Louise Kingsley, a previous guest, of course, on Great British Bosses, who is the Director of Performance with the GB Rowing elite teams there, described this championships as a successful start to the LA cycle. I think that they will have an excellent plan and processes in place to ensure that when they get to LA, they know exactly what they're doing with this shortened course over 1,500 metres. That's my view. I know you're a bit more concerned.
I'm just slightly concerned, but I think it's also interesting that World Rowing aren't changing the length of their races. They're sticking with their 2,000 metres, and that's what it will be right up into the Olympics, and then the Olympics will be different. I just think how you go about training to be in front at 1,500 metres, but also you want to win World Championships. As you say, Louise Kingsley's happy with the performance of these championships over the next 3 years. You want to see us winning championships, but you also want to win the big one, which is the Olympic gold medal as well. We will see. Also, just sticking with rowing for one more story, Ollie Wynne Griffith has announced his retirement from elite rowing. The Olympic bronze medalist from Tokyo and silver medalist from Paris 2024, confirming on Insta that he's not going to the LA Games. He has described it as, being honest, some brutal moments along the way from his career spanning 2007 to 2024. But he said it's been the privilege of a lifetime to represent his country at 2 Olympic Games, and I will treasure the memories forever. We wish him well in the rest of his career, because he's not retiring. He's got his whole life to lead, as we always say.
I hope one of those brutal moments is not when he went into Talk Sport and they thought that Olympic rowing took place down the River Seine. I hope he doesn't mean that as one of his brutal moments. No, fantastic career. I remember it was the one day I did in Paris at the rowing lake, and it was Ollie and Tom winning their silver medal, and they were fuming in the immediate aftermath because they just got done on the line. And then I went to see them the next morning at Team GB House, and they realised the enormity of what they'd achieved, an Olympic silver medal. So their mood had changed somewhat. And then I think the thought of having to do all that again and go through the cycle for LA, well, for Ollie, it's probably just one too many. So yeah, terrific career and a great guy as well, I think, most importantly. And I'm sure whatever he turns his attention to next, if he brings to it exactly what he brought to his rowing career, and there are so many transferable skills from elite sport into the world of business or coaching or mentoring, whatever he chooses to do, I'm sure that he will be a huge success at it. Now, we mentioned, of course, that there are a couple of big para events taking place at the minute. Well, the Para Swimming Championships in Singapore, that has just finished. 40 medals for aquatics GB. 15 golds, 14 silver, 1 bronze. 5th on the medal table. Impossible to mention, I think, in this podcast, every medalist. So I'll just run through very quickly what happened. 9 medals in total on day 1, including a gold for William Airlard, a gold for Poppy Maskill, and a gold for Alice Tighe. It was quite the week for Alice Tighe because on day 2, she won another gold, her second gold of the championships. There was a clean sweep for Great Britain as well in the S14 100 metres backstroke. And then what happened on day 3? Another gold for Alice Tighe, her third gold of the championships, this time in the S8 100 metres butterfly. There was a British record as well for Faye Rogers on day 3. And then what happened on day 4? Yep, you've guessed it. There was a gold medal for Alice Tighe, her 4th in 4 days in the S8 100 metres freestyle. There was also a gold medal for Ellie Chalice in the 50 metres backstroke, and a gold on day 4 as well in the mixed 4x1 S14 freestyle relay. Day 5, Grace Harvey won the 11th gold of the championships for Great Britain, and on day 6 there was another gold medal in the mixed S14 4x100 metres medley, and Brock Whiston won a gold as well. And finally then on day 7, a gold medal and a world record for Poppy Maskill in the S14 100 metres butterfly, and a gold medal for Will Ellard as well. It was quite the week for Aquatics GB.
This is Anything But Footy, the Olympic and Paralympic podcast, and we're moving on to Milan and looking ahead to LA. News from the games coming next.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
So we've been talking about the terrific performance by Aquatics GB at the Para World Swimming Championships in Singapore. That has just concluded, and it dovetails neatly into what's happening in New Delhi, which is the World Para Athletics Championships, which has just got underway. Medals to bring you news of already. A bronze medal in the F46 javelin for Holly Arnold after 9 months away from the sport. There was also a bronze medal for Thomas Young in the T38 100 metres, and a clean sweep for British athletics in the women's T34 400 metres. A bronze for Fabian Andre, a silver for Carrie Adenagan, and a gold, well, what else would it be, for Hannah Cockcroft, and a championship record time of 55.62. It's her 17th gold medal, continues her unbeaten run at the World Championships, and she's still got the 100 metres to come.
Eilish McColgan ran the fastest 10,000 metres in the UK this year. She won the Vitality London 10K, equalling Joe Pavey's record of 3 wins on the central London route. A brilliant display from Eilish McColgan, all ahead of the New York City Marathon, which takes place on Sunday, November 2nd. And Eilish gave her reaction after her run.
Yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing with today. I think that was only like 10 seconds off my best in this course from like 3 years ago. So yeah, it's nice to know that you can sort of still come back from injury, come back from illness and compete at this level. And to match Joe Pavey, who's one of my sort of heroes in the sport, is a really special day. I woke up this morning, the weather was amazing, so I was like, please stay like this, please stay like this. But it was really, really nice. And it's a really good field today as well, like a lot of high quality men at the very top of the field, so I had people around me the whole way, and that makes a big difference too. Rather than doing like a women's only race, it's nice to have like a big mix, and I think that definitely helped over the last couple of miles when I was starting to really hurt and tire. I was just battling all the way to the finish line with people, so yeah, really, really happy. New York Marathon is the next big one for me. I'm not sure if I'll maybe do a race in between then and now. I did Great Northern a couple of weeks ago and got sick after that, so I wasn't really sure, to be honest, how I'd feel today, but yeah, really, really happy to feel strong and sort of back to full health, so yeah, hopefully we can push on these next 4 weeks.
Zach Mohammed was the first man across the line in the men's race, and David Weir won the Vitality London 10,000 men's wheelchair race for the 4th time.
Moving on to the World Road Cycling, which has been taking place in Rwanda. We've got World Track Cycling still to come this year, but the road cyclists have been taking centre stage. We've got an under-23 world champion, Zoe Baxted, in the time trial. In the men's event, Callum Thornley finished 5th. Millie Cousins, by the way, in the women's event, finished 6th. We've also got the first ever British junior men's road race world champion. That's Harry Hudson. Max Hines finished 4th. Matthew Pearce finished 5th. In the senior road race, Tom Pidcock finished 10th. Ben Healy of Ireland won a bronze. And in the women's time trial, the Olympic silver medalist Anna Henderson finished 8th.
I said that sport was brutal, Michael, as part of this podcast. The coverage of the Ryder Cup has been interesting. I think, obviously, a brilliant performance from Europe. They become one of the very rare teams to win away in America. And they did win it, despite the US PGA announcing that they'd retained it when they lifted the trophy. They did win it in the end, after, of course, retaining it through a Shane Lowry putt and then winning it through Tyrrell Hatton getting his tied point. But I just thought the coverage has really been dominated by the amount of abuse that the players got. And we say that sport is brutal. And I think Rory McIlroy will say that what he went through and his family went through is totally unacceptable. But isn't this a point that men's sport generally, people now want it to be, we want to talk more about the controversy, and you see it in football. It's not about some great play. It's about what the manager said or the VAR did or the referee did. And in golf, I just felt the Ryder Cup has been spectacular, absolutely spectacular. The way the Americans came back in the singles was incredible. But actually, most of the coverage has been negative and about the abuse that they shouldn't be getting, and I wouldn't put up with it. It'd be like me sort of saying to you as you were reading out the results of para swimming, "What are you doing? You're talking rubbish. What do you know?" And all it's unbelievable that they come for a day's work and they're being abused. But I think also the coverage of it has become totally negative as well.
Yeah, the sport of the Ryder Cup always delivers, whether that is just supreme performances like they had in Rome in the last Ryder Cup and Europe just run away with it, or the great comeback that we saw from the US wasn't quite enough this time. The sport always delivers. The hype and everything around it has been pretty unsavoury. I think Rory McIlroy made a terrific point when he was interviewed, and he was saying that the American fans should be cheering on the American golfers as opposed to cheering abuse at the European golfers. There's lessons, I think, to be learnt for the organisers of the Ryder Cup. I think it's probably worse when it's being held in America than it is when it's in Europe. I just feel that every time it seems to be in the States that this issue seems to be even worse than normal. So, I don't know what the solution is for the organisers of the Ryder Cup, whether we have to go through identity cards or something like that to see who gets the tickets for the Ryder Cup. I would imagine in the past, I would have said it's the minority, but watching what I watched at the weekend, it doesn't feel like it's the minority. It does feel like it's the majority that are spoiling it for everyone. And at some point, what you're going to see is the likes of Rory McIlroy and others who put so much into the Ryder Cup and, always, circle it in the calendar. They don't get paid for it. They'll walk away, because if your wife's having drinks thrown at her, as is what happened with Rory McIlroy, he doesn't need to be there. He's not earning cash from being there. He's won everything, got everything that there is to do in the game, pretty much. He'll just say, look, it's not worth the hassle for me and my family. So some lessons as well for the Olympic organisers when we get to LA, because we're going to have team golf there as well. I hope the Olympic crowd is a little politer, shall we say, than the Ryder Cup crowd.
And Shane Lowry summed it up brilliantly ahead of the next Ryder Cup, which is at Adair Manor in County Limerick in Ireland. I know it'll be a little bit nicer than playing here. So a busy weekend, some brutal sport, as we've been hearing. Check out our socials for all the latest. We've got the latest on the World Canoe Slalom Championships all week as well. Our latest blogs are on the website, anythingbutfooty.com. We talk about the enhanced games and also the coverage of these World Championships. Should there be more of them? Michael absolutely thinks there should. The Spotify Olympics music playlist is there. No doubt the Ryder Cup team have been celebrating, as the Women's Rugby World Cup team, by the way. A great performance from England at Twickenham in front of 80,000 fans. Biggest ever crowd for a women's rugby match. Well done to them at the weekend as well. World champions as well. No doubt Freed from Desire has been sung quite a lot. That is on the Spotify Olympics music playlist. Stay with us. We are moving on to Milan in just 5 months' time and looking ahead to LA. This is Anything But Footy.
podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Power up fall projects with Ego at Lowe's. Every tool delivers power beyond belief. So whether it's leaves, limbs, or lawn cleanup, count on Ego to deliver the power, performance, and innovation you need. And now for a limited time, save up to $60 on select blowers, chainsaws, and pole saws. Shop Ego today at Lowe's. Offers valid through 10/1 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.